Mic check, life check. With Haley Jensen.
Welcome back to another episode of Dancing with the Stars coverage. I'm sorry, but not sorry. There is not much going on to look forward to for me. I did wear my Joe Burrow shirt in uniformity of I miss him and him playing, but we're working with what we can work with for right now. So this week on Dancing with the Stars was very dramatic, I would say, in the least. First off, I did listen to all the Dancing with the Stars episodes that have been released thus far, so I'm very caught up to date with that. My overall thoughts for the Dancing with the Stars podcast: I think Joey's a very good host. He's very formal. It feels very produced though. It doesn't feel like he has a lot of say and can put his personality and spin. Just like a little bit he does, but it seems very produced, and that he has to be careful in what he says, which obviously makes sense because it's in theory not his podcast. But I do enjoy him as a podcast host. I think he does a very good job. When he does his interviews, I would say he's very good at making people comfortable, and so I think that's a very good reason for why they chose him. But after all these weeks of me saying that I was going to listen to all the episodes, I am now caught up, and I did enjoy each episode, so give it a listen if you want even more Dancing with the Stars. But yeah, overall, there was a lot of people complaining about dance experience playing a part in the competition. I would say over TikTok, the internet, I'd say since the start of the competition, but even more so in this past week, just with how scoring is played out and how people think that they're so much more ahead in the competition because of it. But when it does boil down to all of it, it's even more than dance experience a little bit, because voting, the whole thing is completely curated based on voting. And we've seen that year after year, just with if a celebrity has a huge following or if they did something bad, I don't know, that voting is impacted because of it. So I see both sides of the argument. I agree whenever I watch Dancing with the Stars. I do think that as well. I mean, like, I reference Charlie D'Amelio every time, but she was fantastic. And she was episode 1. And there was no doubt in my mind that she wasn't going to win, and she did. And I don't think that makes it a bad show. Did it make it predictable? Yeah. But I think the overall, just watching the season play out was very entertaining. Obviously, for those that were trying to win, sorry, good luck. But I don't know, I would say each season of Dancing with the Stars, the show is evolving. And obviously they're having more eyes than ever on the show because of all the young talent and TikTok and whatever. But with that being said, it is TikTok week on Dancing with the Stars. So just going through all the cast, because that's what I like to do. So we're going to do it. So first up was Jen and Jan, not Jan. But yeah, it's funny. When we first got the announcement that both Whitney and Jen were going to be on Dancing with the Stars, I feel like a lot of people put them up, including myself, neck and neck, thinking that they were going to pretty much have the exact same amount of talent going into the show. No, Jen is one of the couples that I fear will be gone in the next couple weeks. I think she has a lot of spice to her, but I think it's when it's organic and it's on top of her kitchen counter, because watching her in the ballroom, she's very nervous for one, which is fine, like most people would be, but it just comes off and it makes the viewer uncomfortable, I think, just a little bit. And I think she's adorable, and I think it's great that she is dancing, and I would have chosen the couch for recovery, but she chose the ballroom, and I love that for her. I think that there isn't a lot of room for improvement unless she can shake off those nerves. But yeah, she tends to be, for me, based on what I've even seen from Secret Lives of Mormon Wives, she's a bit of smoke and mirrors. She plays the reactions and just really dives into them along with what she thinks that the viewer or whoever's watching wants to see. And so that just doesn't come off super organic for me, and that reflects in her dancing as well. As for the judges' comments that I definitely agree with, was that she had hyperextension in a lot of her arms and throwing her arms around with, instead of hitting poses, she was throwing them around. And you could work on them for sure. And I think it's just that she's just trying to run with whatever performance aspect when she hears the music start, and she's not thinking about applying the corrections and what's going to be best for the performance. I think she's just, okay, music's on, time to shake my hips kind of thing. And which, that was the funniest thing, that in her media package right before they went on, she said like, oh, I need to practice shaking my hips, which it was funny because she had basically implied even before the show that she has this Latina blood in her. And yeah, anyway, the fact that she has to work so hard on shaking her hips proves otherwise. Anyway, so that was entertaining for me. She was just kind of sluggish, I'd say, with the actual dance aspect, because with Derek's comments were quicker turn spots and it needs the Cuban hip action. So apparently the hips were not worked upon enough because they didn't do super great. But we'll see going forward if that improves. We'll see. But yeah, overall, she just seems very nervous, but very fake it till you make it attitude, and it just doesn't come off super organic or natural. And because she is in the middle of the pack, I think she will be eliminated week 5 through 7 probably-ish. And yeah, overall she is a 6 dancer to me. I don't think she's gonna change overnight week to week. I could be wrong. I'll eat my words next week if that's the case, but we'll see. Up next, Lauren and Brandon. So if you haven't seen the spoilers, Lauren and Brandon get eliminated. And yeah, big old elephant in the room though was that she, at the very end when they interviewed and said, oh, like, how do you feel about everything? And she just kind of smirks and she says, pissed, because that's how she feels. So they're like, oh, how do you feel? Pissed, she says. And I think that's fair. I think it's a little immature, but at the same time, I don't think that, I don't know, I think it's okay, because I feel like Jen that I just spoke to, a lot of these celebrities are choosing to say the best thing to protect their internet presence because either they're an influencer or someone new to the scene. And that's the difference, is that Lauren has been part of Fifth Harmony and she's been a diva and she's done this for years and years and years. And so I think her response was very warranted, and that she doesn't really have that much to lose. I think she had every right to be that mad and irritated. So it's what it is. So going forward, yeah, she's a diva. So she chose to join a competition and was doing it very right in terms of practicing and improving. And that was something that even Brandon said on the Dancing with the Stars podcast, that she was doing it right and that there was no gimmicks and there was no trying to get a leg up one way or another with the world voting. I don't know. There's lots of things that people do, but she was doing it right in terms of how she wanted things to be done and practicing and working hard with it. The very funny thing though was that Derek had said after they had danced, quote unquote, "You're gonna be here a long time." She was not indeed here for a long time, but overall, she was a very slow start, and I wanted to like her. I didn't really like her attitude ever, but it's not always necessarily about that either. It's just with how they improved week to week, and the bottom line as well was voting. And I don't know how much of the Fifth Harmony people were voting. I don't know what her normal, I guess, group of community would be for rooting for her. I don't know what that looks like. So that was something that they had said a couple times, whether it was on Dance with the Stars, I don't remember, or a different interview, but they basically just said, not sure who was voting and how were voting, but it's like, obviously it's too late to care. It's too late for any of it to matter. So overall, I think she probably should have stayed another week over maybe Hilaria and Gleb, but yeah, you could definitely tell there was a lot of people very confused, though, based on everyone's reactions after when the credits were playing, and every single dancer went up to hug them and check on them, and like you could even see right in the front that Emma was saying, "Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry" to Brandon, like almost implying it should have been her. I don't know. I don't want to say that because that was not something that was stated or said, but based on the reaction, Emma was just completely floored that it was them. And the craziest thing too is that Hilaria and Gleb were not even in the bottom 3. It was Emma, Andy, and Elaine and Ellen. So that was the wildest thing to me. But yeah, I'd be very intrigued to see how the actual voting process is. I wish they'd display it to see how far ahead certain people are, because it doesn't make a lot of sense. So overall, I didn't mind that she went home next. I mean, like I said, I would probably prefer Hilaria and Gleb, but to me, she's not that far off when it comes to dance ability as Jen for me. And I know maybe I'll get hate for that, but it honestly feels pretty similar with how invested they both are. Up next was Daniela and Pasha, or Topanga. I think they are so cute, for one, and she already looks so much skinnier to me. I don't know if my eyeballs were playing tricks on me, but I definitely think she looks a little skinnier. Love that for her. We saw the same thing with Allison Hannigan, and I love it. I love how hard that they work, that you can even see it reflect on even their body. It's crazy. Anyway, but she also had the hamstring leg injury, so props to her even more that she's probably in a lot of pain. Her body's recovering 50 ways more than one, and yet she's still losing some nice weight that just makes her look even better. So I think she's so sweet and honestly so likable, and she's doing the competition right in my eyes. Like, she's not doing gimmicks. She's there to improve. She's there to put her best foot forward, and I would envision that she stays for at least another 3 or 4 weeks. I never watched Boy Meets World, but she makes me want to, just with how, like, what is the word? How energetic with how she performs and how much heart she puts into her performances. I love it. And the funny thing is, during the media package, she was talking about how obviously she has this relationship with Sabrina Carpenter, and then Sabrina Carpenter had sent this video. But the funny thing was that the video was like in black and white, and I was so confused for why that was. But if being a Taylor Swift, and we'll get into that in a little bit, adjacent fan, meaning I'm knowledgeable of the Taylor Swift lore to an extent, but I would bet that something she was wearing maybe would have been a giveaway for a project that she was working on, or like a music video or something, and so they needed to put it in black and white. But that's a theory. That's a little Easter egg. I think that might have been it, or they just randomly wanted to have her in black and white, I guess, but who's to say? Anyway, I absolutely loved her performance. She is just so likable and so pleasant to be around, and you just feel great when she dances and when she talks and the way she responds. Honestly, that's kind of the bottom line for me, because being pleasant gets you points, aka not Lauren. Being a diva does not get you points, and that's kind of why I imagine things kind of panned out the way that they did. But my opinion, once again. Okay, Jordan and Ezra. They are incredible. The 180 performance that they did the previous week continues. They are doing so good, and honestly, based on the week 1 performance, I did not think that they were going to be tied for first place for this week. Oh my gosh. They did so good. They danced to Anxiety by, I don't remember, Doce, whatever. Anyway, they did so good. And it honestly gave me very similar vibes to Charlie and Mark's dance when they did Charlie's anxiety dance, I guess. Or I don't remember if it was a mental health something. But anyway, similar vibes. And I actually really enjoyed Ezra toning down the just TikTok and always trying to like be in your face with whatever agenda, with just his not his personality, but just kind of like the game to always be on in your mind, living rent free kind of thing. I really enjoyed the way that he was a little more serious this week, and they both just put everything into this dance, and I loved it. I thought that they are going to continue to be a force to reckon with because they have gotten better with their just lines, with all the technique, just emotion, less gimmicks, and more dancing, which I really do like from them. And also, I loved her slicked ponytail in this. She looked so good, and it just created this uniform effect. It gave me Daniela vibes, honestly, the pro Daniela, and with this slicked ponytail. And I just thought it was so impressive. So I'm very intrigued how they go forward because they're doing so good, and obviously their highest scores by far at this point. But anyway, moving on. Dylan and Daniela. You naturally, of course, watch Daniela. She's so fantastic. However, this specific dance was so sensual, and it honestly made you like feel something. Feel something. And overall, though, that they are getting better and better as a couple, and I think that they're going to slowly creep their way into the top of the leadership board as well. They're currently kind of in the middle, but yeah, I thought their performances were really good. Derek was saying that they were smooth and silk, and Bruno said 50 Shades of Foxtrot, which I definitely agree. That was definitely the vibes that they were giving off. As for, yeah, overall, watching them, you just naturally have a little crush as you watch them dance, but it was the best scores for them. And then at the very end of their performance, it was funny because they had hit their final pose, but I think they just had too much, I guess, inertia. I don't know. Too much power in it because they ended up like accidentally banging heads, and then they just couldn't stop laughing. So I thought that was funny. I love to see those moments. They're a little silly. It just proves that everyone's human, and especially in a performance like that, there's so much high energy and tension that those things just happen naturally. But up next, let's see. Up next is Lane and Alan. I love them as a couple. I don't know how far Elaine will make it. She is good. I can't see her continuing to improve week after week after week. I think she's very strong. However, I will say the song that they were given, which was Gnarly, by Cat's Eye, they did the best they could with it, but I think with the costuming, it was like red plaid. It was just kind of weird. I would have done it differently for sure. They did the best what they could with it. Elaine definitely kills it for the fact of how that she's like 50 for her age. She's amazing. But she's another one like Danielle or Topanga that is doing the competition right. She's very invested in her progress. She's not there to play games. She's not trying to one up somebody else. She's there for herself, and I love that for her. It comes off very organic. In my opinion, once again, she should outlast Jen and definitely Hilaria, of course. But then maybe she would be one of the next ones up to go home. At the end, I probably should rank who I would put. Well, I feel like it's too early to say for who's going to win, but we'll see. I love watching this show though, week to week. It's been so fun. Up next was Whitney and Mark. I know she's confident, and that's cool. I love that for her. But the problem is because she's so confident, for me, it just feels a little cocky. And I understand she's pretty popular and trendy right now. But if she was an influencer from years ago or minor celebrity, whatever, and she had that attitude, I think it would bite her in the butt. I don't think it, like, just being absorbently confident to a point of cockiness would not do her well. But I think she's lucky because of where she is in her fame journey, that it's not an issue for her, and she does have a very large group of followers and supporters. I think she is probably a very sweet and nice person, but it just doesn't come off super organic and sweet as a lot of the other competitors. And I'm not saying you have to be nice and sweet, but it just feels weird to watch her sometimes. But I know a lot of people want her to win. I preferably don't. I think it's a little smoke and mirrors with her. Yeah, I don't know. I guess I just need to see her do more different types of dance styles, and she always just kind of plays the same card, and that's why it just kind of feels weird for me. But yeah, but she's very powerful, and as always, the difference between her and Charlie is just the attitude that she's very upfront. Whitney is that I'm a win. I'm gonna win. I'm very strong, versus Charlie of I want to do my best, and that's what is just the difference for me. So because I know a lot of people have compared obviously the dance experience that Whitney had done dance in college, and obviously Charlie's danced her whole life, whatnot. But yeah, bottom line for me is that I just don't want somebody that acts like that to win. So, but that's just my opinion, of course. Scott and Riley. So the category being jazz for their dance is very laughable for me because it's more of a hip hop and like tutting. It's a dance style / drag routine more than anything. And I feel like a freestyle category would have been more appropriate for that dance, but a lot of people really liked it. I liked it for what it was. I don't think it was very jazz, but what is jazz, right? I guess. I don't know. It was interesting. But as usual, Riley is just very much looking for the viral dance trend moment, and I saw a lot of those choreographed into the dance, which is fine and understandable, of course, and like that's what she is good at. That's what she brings to Dancing with the Stars. But I feel like it gets to a point and pushes past the line of the competition for me, and that's not super enjoyable to watch always. I feel like it's just very gimmicky and you just see it right up front and whatever. But and I can even back this up because they posted the same routine after the week was over just to convince people to try to do the dance themselves and make it viral. So I think that if that's not just like a cry for help, not really, but for or an attempt to have this viral moment, it's just a little silly to me. I don't know. Obviously, what would I do if I was in their shoes? Probably the same thing, right? But as a viewer, it's just like really, I don't know. Obviously, I'm seeing this on TikTok, not obviously Dancing with the Stars, but watching the show and the choreography, initially, I was just spotting all those moments, and it was just like, okay, whatever. Like, I wasn't that impressed. However, with this dance specifically, Scott was a ton more confident in this one versus all the other styles. I think it will be, however, his swan song and might be something that leads him towards being the last couple weeks for him here. I don't think he has a good fit in the ballroom, and that's why this dance specifically was a good fit, especially because they only I would say touch or made a human connection in the dancing when they were doing a lift. And besides that, it was all very separate dancing. And so I just don't think that Scott has a strong suit with ballroom choreography in general, or it's just very uncomfortable for him. But obviously, because he's had a good week this past week, that could change everything. His personality could be more invested. He could be more relaxed with how he feels regarding each of the dances going forward. So we could see a different Scott next week, but we'll see. As for Hilary and Gleb, yes, it's no secret. I want them to go home. I think everyone wants them to go home. Hilary is just, she's not a team player. Not that she needs to be necessarily, but I don't think she has a connection or a Dancing with the Stars family mentality like everyone else does. And not just that, but she's another one that because of her prior ballroom experience, they were kind of viewing that as not super fair. Obviously, she has a bit of an age on her, so she is older. It's not like she did this professionally and still does. So that's obviously fine, exception-wise. But yeah, people are just kind of waiting for her to go home. Gleb obviously has done his own things in the past, and so he's just kind of hand in hand with it. Normally, I'd feel bad for the pro, but I don't feel that bad. But I will give her, Hilaria does have, as the judges say, incredible samba rolls. She did put a very clean performance forward, and I'm very intrigued if her voting is keeping her in the competition at this point, because her scoring's fine. It's above average, but I feel like it's weird that people are voting for her. I would say I don't see a presence on social media that's very supportive to her. So I honestly don't know. But overall, the judges did make it very clear it was a very pure and classic samba, which I can appreciate. The technically, I enjoy the technique that she does have. But yeah, overall, I think it's a very telling thing with the personality that she provides to the camera besides what is occurring behind closed doors, I would say. I feel like she's definitely putting on an act when she is in interviews. Like her whole thing on social media, her whole stint of when I'm talking, you're not talking, to her husband on the red carpet. I remember when that was viral, people had a lot of very nasty things to say about Hilaria in general, of things that she has been known to do, or just kind of her personality and attitude. So I think that's something that's definitely just going to continue to hurt her. I'm not saying that you can't give it a second chance or whatnot, but it's all about her, right? And that comes off not very organic as well. So, but that's fine if she wants to be there for the competition for herself, and like if she wants to improve, that's great. She's just not that likable, but yeah, we'll see how she goes forward. I hope she gets kicked off next time. Sorry, that's so rude, but I just don't. She's not good TV at all. But I mean, I guess for the technique's sake, she's good TV in that regard. But I just don't think a lot of people want her there. So, but Carrie Ann's comment that she doesn't always have the musicality to back herself up in this competition, I thought that was very interesting, because I would agree. I think that she's very stiff and awkward at times, even though she does have the technique. It's kind of a weird combination, because being stiff and having technique doesn't see, it's just, you can't feel her musicality and rhythm through what she does. And so I feel like that's why Carrie Ann said that. So, and I would agree as well. But yeah, hopefully she's got next week, but we'll see. All right, so up next was Andy and Emma. I'm happy he's still around, honestly. I thought he would have been long gone by now, but I love his energy. He's definitely one of the people's princesses, I would say, or princes, I should say. He's just an overall such a sweetheart. And I feel like he really does make people feel something in the best way he can. Like, he obviously is a comedian and he is good at that, but I think that his heart and desire to do so good in this competition and stick around is just so telling, where a lot of the other contestants and celebrities, not all of them are like that they obviously want to do good and stay in the competition, but like he wants it for the most organic and just happy way, and I love that for him. He had the Hosier's Yell song and they killed it. That was their best dance so far, and they made people feel a lot, and I thought it was just a very beautiful dance. And I thought that he was gonna be long gone by now. I swear, if he gets kicked off before Hilaria, ugh. And that's the funny thing, is that Hilaria technically is so much better, but it just comes down to personality and voting. And I feel like in the past there's always been like a lot of like grandpas that a lot of like young teens or girls, women, whatever, they like claim them and protect them. And I feel like that's what we're getting with Andy, of course, here. And so I think that he'll probably stay before Hilaria, but I don't know. Their scores are low. That's the only thing, is that's gonna hurt them more than anything. And that's the only thing that Hilaria's got going for her. So, yeah, but something that was said by the judges was that in their dance there's a lot of content this week, and an actual foxtrot, I should say, and it was very touching. And so I was very proud of Andy. I think that it's so sweet how far he's come, and that week to week that he is improving, and you can see him getting better and being able to find the musicality and dance with it and feel with it and really just impact with it as well. So I absolutely love it. And the entire cast loves Andy as well. And I think that there's just this unspoken vibe that Hilaria needs to be the next to go. But obviously, I'm not in the ballroom, so I couldn't tell you. But what I could tell you from not being in the ballroom is Robert and Whitney are pure sex appeal. Oh my gosh. The combination of them when they dance is crazy, which is funny because like Whitney's like 10 years older than him too, which is just bizarre. But I think they did so good, obviously, with their dance. The salsa, it was very, very, very spicy. It wasn't even the Roomba. But I think that the whole shirt gimmick ripping off thing, that was to be predicted. Most of the pros, they're always just trying to reach into that viral TikTok moment gimmick. And all I can say is that it worked. There are shirts of Robert Irwin all over TikTok of this ripping off the shirt moment, and I think it's so funny. But I think he looks good. But the problem is when in the dance when that occurred, right after there was some side by side like step movements, and he was so like it didn't come off super nervous, but you could tell he was like focusing so hard on it. And Derek called it out as well. Like he said the salsa side by side was a little rough. Like people were booing him as well, but no, like I 100% had to agree. Like they are people's favorite couple as well, and they did very good. I think Whitney's choreography is great. I think she's really, she's a fantastic performer, and the two of them are incredible. And I think that she balances the dances out very well with a combination of lifts and side by side whatnot. And I think that, oh gosh, they're definitely top 3. But based on the first week, everyone was saying that they're gonna win. But then it was kind of like Robert versus Whitney, and everything's just moving always, and that's what makes this competition just super intriguing to watch. Like no one can predict what's gonna happen next, and I mean, voting alone, people are shocked that Lauren and Brandon went home. So we will see by Tuesday to see how things are gonna move forward and progress with that. But overall, Robert obviously is definitely a favorite. He sometimes obviously can get a little stiff, but overall has a very good energy, and usually he's lip syncing and he's a vibe. So we enjoy watching Robert and Whitney. All right, so up next is Alex and Val. I have liked all their dances so far. I think that this dance was just a little different, which is funny because, well, I'll get to my thoughts at the end here. But yeah, they danced to pop music, which of course had a very viral moment on TikTok with the dance, people doing the dance. And in the media package, they brought in Molly Long and Reagan. I forgot the other girl's name, but anyway, I really liked it, and I was excited during the media package to see that, and I was like, oh, that's so cool, they're gonna do like the dance. But obviously they only did little bits and parts of it, which was kind of a letdown, but at the same time it's like, okay, once again, this is Dancing with the Stars. That is not what this is about, to just redo this dance and bring it to life again kind of thing. So it was kind of weird for me because they wanted to incorporate that, but then of course they kind of do their dance as well. So it's just kind of like, it felt a little messy and maybe a little stressful. And I feel like that's what played out as well. But with that being said, the judges don't really nitpick her a lot, like when it comes to her performances. And I feel like she's been given a free pass. I don't know if that is because she needs to stay in the, I guess, ballroom longer than some other people. I don't know what the agenda is. I don't know if she's been given a pass, but it feels like that for me. I feel like they're always just very positive and don't have many critiques. And I feel like for this dance, it just didn't feel as special or intense or energetic. It was just like, for me. But I feel like she didn't really have that much fun as well with her. Like, I think she's just really nervous with getting the actual Molly Long choreography right. But I gotta tell you, because I'm not her. So that's just how it felt for me. But overall, I think they're going to stay, obviously, for a while. Definitely middle to high area, but we'll see. So that's the entire cast. My overall thoughts, I think that Jordan and Whitney, because they're currently tied at the top, that they are going to continue to be neck and neck. I think that Robert will soon join them. And I don't know. I think Robert just had a rough week and with that just middle section of his dance, but we'll see. I think that there's a lot of top contenders given that there's a lot of them that are improving quickly as well. Like people like Danielle and Pasha and Dylan and Daniela. And I think that it's going to get really crowded at the top very soon. So I'm very intrigued going forward who can pull to the front and how they do that. But yeah, I am very curious though to see if friendships will remain going forward. I feel like things could get a little catty and competitive, but I don't know. It's too hard to say. And I think it was something that Brandon said on the Dancing with the Stars podcast was that the pros, they're just like a family, and that's why even though they compete, their bottom line, they are a family and they support each other. So, but yeah, so I think that because the bottom three were Andy, Emma, Elaine, and Alan, I can't imagine that that's going to change for next week. I don't know, maybe. But then soon to be joined, hopefully, by a Hilary and Gleb. And that has to be by votes alone, because that sounds so bad. But, like, yeah, her technique's okay and it can keep her alive. But, like, technically she is obviously better than Scott and Riley. But Scott and Riley have the voting. So it's hard. Who's to say? We'll find out. But overall, yes, Lauren was pissed to be kicked off. And I think that is totally fine. She can be a diva because she was been a diva for the last 10 years. And yeah, that's showbiz. But yeah, based on all the reactions of the cast, people were not expecting it. And that's just how the competition goes sometimes. So, but it's always very funny because it's very last minute in the very end of the show. Like, they're rolling credits as they announce it usually. And so I wish we had more opportunity to see in like a bigger interview. I don't know. Or to see maybe some of the other pros or contestants interviewed as well of how they felt about Lauren being eliminated. But that'd just be a fun little thing. But we'll see. I did hear that they have their finale. I think it'll be announced for a 3-hour finale, which I don't know if that's for the first time or not. I don't remember, but that's a long time. So we'll see. Maybe we'll get interviews about that then. So yeah, that overall is my thoughts for Dancing with the Stars. We're doing a short episode this week because things are kind of crazy for me this week, but we will see you next time. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and bye.